Hey, welcome to Psychologies. I'm Dr. Julie Leone. I'm a barefoot coach and I've put together this 4-week course on how to stop emotional eating. If you want to access it, look in the link below and you can register through Psychologies magazine or you can go to Life League's club where you might already be registered, in which case just log in or you can register there. Okay, so this is our last week together. If you want to know more of me, I'm at www.julieleone.com. But this week brings together the 4-week course. So we started off with noticing whether you were comfort eating or not and being kind and compassionate about that. We then moved into thinking about your menstrual cycles and social media and kind of what some of the triggers were. Last week, we looked at in the workbook and on the video a few ways of working with emotion. And so the final piece to this is how to actually be with food in maybe a different way. Okay, so one of the techniques that's suggested in the workbook is a mindful eating technique. So John Kabat-Zinn was one of the first people that brought kind of meditation from Hinduism and Buddhism that's been 2,000 years old and brought it into a sort of more secular language that other people could use. And he invited people to work with a raisin, actually, is what he started with, and asked people to really smell, touch, taste, and only then put it into their mouth and bite it slowly. Now, what happens when we do that, when we engage all of our senses? First of all, it slows us down. Yeah, often a lot of emotional eating happens when we're racing, or even if we're not emotional eating, we're not often very present when we're eating because we might be scrolling, or we might be working, or we might be chatting to people. And so actually we don't notice what it is we're putting into our body. And so actually we lose half the pleasure. You know, food is sensual, isn't it? The smells, the sensations, the succulence. And so part of this mindfulness technique is actually to start to not just make food our friend, but to make it a pleasure. And to make sure that you're eating things that when you smell them make you go or the crunch or the softness and the smoothness actually are part of the pleasure too. Because when you slow down and experience that pleasure, not only are you getting the nutrition from the food, but you're also getting that sense of well-being, you're becoming more in touch with your body, and you're getting some of the succulence in there. So we can also take that one step further by, as we're really engaging with our senses around the food, start to notice what our bodily responses are to it. So if you imagine now just bending down and picking a fresh strawberry that's been grown organically, beautifully, and just imagine the smell of that and the sensation. It might be quite textured and rough, and there might be a shine. There's my cat just leaving. There might be a shine on it as the sunlight comes in. And then imagine taking that first bite, which might actually make your mouth pucker a bit and then be really sweet, and that juice going down and the smell of it. Okay, and then drop that. And then now let's just imagine, I went to college for a time in the northeast, and they used to have deep fried Mars bars. I tried one bite once. So I just want you now let's do the same again. So I want you to imagine the smell of deep fried, that kind of fatty smell of deep fried, and the sizzling and the heat, and then the texture of oil on your hands, and it's all looking very brown and kind of dull because it's battered, and this Mars bar's deep fried and covered in batter. And then imagine taking a bite of that. It might be quite hot, and there'd be spurting of the fat and the batter, and then actually it might be quite oily in your mouth, and start to notice what your body is responding, how that's responding. Because actually your body will have useful information for you. So I don't know, when you were doing those tiny visualizations, certainly for me the strongest one is like, oh yes, the strawberry, the deep fried battered Mars bar, no thank you. And that wasn't really a head decision, but it was if I really pictured it and brought in all my senses, then actually my senses on the Mars bar again, ew, no thank you. And so if you think about a lot of the foods that you might reach for when you're emotional eating, very often, if we can, again, it's just all about that pause, stopping, take a breath, and then really look at the packet of crisps for example, you know, pick up a crisp, rub it on your hands. You'll see the salt, you'll see the fat, you'll feel that it's rough and hard. You know, if you crinkle the crisp packet, you will see that that's plasticky and manufactured, and your body will start responding to that very differently from if you wandered over to the fruit bowl and picked up an apple and that was cool and smooth and maybe had a bit of a shine on it, and that when you washed it and cut it, you would be able to smell that. And so this is really about now not just starting to neutralize food, but to actually enjoy it. You know, really to enjoy it, to enjoy the sensuality of it, and allow your body to give you information, as well as kind of you know, reading the packets and making intellectual decisions. Your body also will have a response to that. So the key things about emotional eating are kindness. Back to that Buddhist loving kindness. We do it because we have an unmet need, an unseen emotion. There's things that you can really look into. Non-violent communication is something that really focuses on how you can meet your emotional needs, how you can communicate that. Loving kindness meditation in Buddhism, compassion. There's lots and lots of other things, psychological things, sort of meditative things that you can do to really, really start to look after yourself. Think of emotional eating as not something that we're going to stop, that actually we're going to really use it as a way of kind of growing and thriving and becoming the person that we want, you know, that kind of inner radiance and vitality. So it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. You can find me at julieleone.com, and thank you for watching. Bye.